was introduced to Intertwined by one of my colleagues in the housing office. They'd sent it out to a few people that they thought might be interested in being storytellers or future story coaches. I applied and was selected, and it's been a really great experience. I think everybody has a story to tell. I think in going through a formal process like this can help you find stories that you didn't know that you had, can help you realize how impactful those stories can be for others. I would say my upbringing was pretty good, though I have no frame of reference. It's like when people ask me what it was like growing up with 20 siblings. The question about whether I liked having such a large family never crossed my mind. It's merely a fact, not something one could like or dislike. There was plenty of adventure. My sister and I were caught once sneaking in the house at 3 a.m. with arms full of baby goats. By the time our parents got around to raising us younger kids, they were too tired to bother about silly little things like a basement full of baby goats. And what's a few more kids anyway, right? And it wasn't uncommon for our house to receive a call from a nosy neighbor that 5 or so small children had just escaped from an upper story window on what appeared to be a rope fashioned from various shirts and denim. We were mostly left to our own devices, long days exploring woods and rivers and telling stories huddled around a fire late into the night. With that number of people comes just a lot of life difficulty too, though. From earliest memory, a series of strangers, people I didn't know but accepted as family. Calls that someone has a brain bleed, and would I care for children, though only a child myself, whose mother may not return. Deaths and substance abuse, mental breakdowns and suicide attempts, and people running away and people running home. Siblings appearing in the dead of night, sometimes with small children in tow, seeking refuge, seeking family, seeking home. Events such as these may have been deeply traumatic to others, but when your family constitutes roughly the population of a small town, it's just a Wednesday. In that chaos and horde of people, things were overlooked and lost too. Our parents removed all of their youngest children out of school, and my formal education ended in the 4th grade. And I never found out why, and I never asked why, because I learned at a young age to accept the reality of what is. But from the moment a neighbor bought me a library card and drove me 13 miles into the city, and I stepped into that 2 air-conditioned space out of the oppressive Missouri summer, I found a hunger to learn and the freedom of time. Because I had little structure or supervision, I spent most of my days reading stacks and mountains of books, sometimes all day in silence like a tiny malnourished monk, sometimes perched in the bed of a pickup truck after a long day of chopping wood. First, the odd assortment of fiction, and then philosophy, mathematics, psychology, game theory, Latin, whatever I could get my hands on. The years passed with family chaos a constant, just as it had been for generations. I was studying for its own sake, but on paper, I still had a 4th grade education. And that made simple things like a job application difficult and even humiliating. The fact that the only thing that mattered was documentation was always thrown in my face. I was worthless, nobody without it. Imagining even the simple kind of future that my friends took for granted was impossible. And as I got older, my world and prospects seemed only to shrink. The gaping mouth of poverty, oppression, and despair loomed. So I did something that I'd been terrified of, and I took the GED. No studying, no prep. I just woke up one day and I decided I would tell no one and I would do it. But rather than failing as I expected I would, I actually disrupted the entire exam when I opened the test and laughed upon realizing how silly I'd been to be so afraid over nothing. And from that moment, I saw education as my escape. Some kind of glint of a future, hazy and uncertain, but it was enough. And I didn't know how I would afford university, but I started working as much as I could, sometimes 13-hour days, 7 days a week. And then a chance arose at just the right moment, a pathway program designed to provide an on-ramp to university. Although run by a religious organization that rejected my identity, I applied immediately. Someone from my background was unlikely to get another opportunity. I packed my few possessions and I drove across the country. I didn't have a home and I didn't have a job, but we can't choose the timing of the chances we get, so I left. And I didn't know all those years prior that library card would be the catalyst that saved my life. And I couldn't foresee all the kindness and chance encounters that would meet me at the various crossroads of my life. It's a quirk of existence that we have to make sense of our lives in reverse. In doing so, we often look for large, pivotal moments. But perhaps we are more a product of those easily overlooked turns that change our course by degrees. The mundanity of reading, the simple kindness of a neighbor, the challenge of accepting wholeheartedly an opportunity that might be less than ideal, but maybe all we get. And all of these deviations in our path have the power to quietly and almost imperceptibly shape and save our lives.